Just confirm. Yeah. Okay. So, greetings to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And we are here to discuss a little bit about IAPT grants. So, we are here on behalf of the IAPT Grant and Membership Committee. And we start by doing introductions. So my name is Gustavo Shimizu. I'm from Brazil, and I'm involved with the Grants Committee and Communications Committee from the IAPT. And that's it. So I would like to pass on to other members of the Grants Committees. Uh, to introduce herself, and after that, the previous grantees from um, previous rounds of our um, grants calls. Okay, so first, Ana Paula, please.
Yeah, thank you, Gu. Hello, everyone. I am Ana Paula Fortuna Perez. I am associate professor at São Paulo State University in Brazil. Also, I am a curator of Botu Herbário. I am a member of the Grants Committee and member of Committee on Institutional Votes of AIPT. Last year, I was awarded with the IAPT Small Collection Grant. With the title of my proposal was Digitalization, Database Support and Maintenance of Material in the Botu Herbarium. Also, I am a worker with the Taxonomy and Systematic of Legume Family. Thank you.
Mhm. So, Laura.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura Lagomarsino. I'm a faculty member at LSU in my day-to-day life, but I'm also a member of the IAPT Council. And so part of that role, I'm on the grants committee. And I'll be telling you about some of these grants today. I want to say it is very early where I am, so I'm still waking up. So pardon me for that. Um, and I'm sure that Gustavo might say this in a little bit, but one thing I really appreciate about IAPT is our internationality. And so um, we want to acknowledge that everybody in this room has a different native language. Many of you don't speak English as a native language. And so don't be ashamed of that. Ask your questions. We are also all language learners on the Zoom. And so we want you to get what you need out of this program today. Okay, I'll pass it on to, let's see, Jenny.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sorry, first, Aida, she's from the Grants
Oh,
Committee.
Aida. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Right.
My name is Aida Vasco. I am from Colombia. I am a professor assistant at the Antioquia University in Medellin. I'm a mycologist. I work with mushrooms, and I am a curator of the strain collections here in Medellin, and also I support the herbario of University of Antioquia with the mushrooms collection. And I am part of the committee.
Mhm. Thank you. So, Jenny.
Buen día con todos. Mi nombre es Jenny y yo soy de Perú. Trabajo en la Universidad Nacional San Cristóbal de Huamanga en Ayacucho. Yo soy miembro investigador del Herbario San Cristóbal de Huamanga. Y bueno, yo ahora vengo ejecutando un proyecto del IAPT que se denomina Documentando y Visibilizando la Diversidad Vegetal de la región Ayacucho, conservación y digitalización en el herbario San Cristóbal de Huamanga de Ayacucho.
Mhm.
Genial.
Thank you. So, Jenny is grantee, small collections grantee from Peru. Okay, and now Jeepa, please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Myself, Dipanita Boni. I am a small collection grant awardee from last year for the project like restoration and digitization of half-century old plant specimen repository, Assam, Northeast India. So I am a senior principal scientist working in CSIR NIST. The acronym of our herbarium is CSIR NIST. I'm a plant taxonomist. I work in Myristicaceae, Agapetes of Ericaceae family, Alpinia of Gingiveraceae, and Begoniaceae right now. Yeah.
So thank you. I will start sharing screen. Okay. So, sorry, it was the last slide. Here. This is okay for everybody?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we will discuss a little bit about some skills and tips when we are preparing the proposals for the IAPT grants that could serve also for another types of grants. And please be very free to talk and ask and write down in the chat. And after our presentation, we can discuss a little bit more and see if someone has any doubts. Okay. We are here to learn from each other. And so how to write and prepare your grants. We have this, the IAPT has this two types of grants, research grants and small collection grants. The first one is focused on supporting young investigators up to 1 year experience after the PhD. So this is a recent modification from previous calls, because in the past, people that had more than 1 year after the PhD would apply, but now it's the up limit is 1 year after the PhD. But all other categories can apply under undergrads, master students, and PhD students. Okay, and the main goals are to carry out herbarium research visits and field working in all groups of organisms that are in our ICN code. So plant, algae, fungal systematics, nomenclature, and floristics. This is the main focus, but other topics related can be used too, but these are the main goals. And for each grant, the money is 2,000 for each one, and it closes at the end of this month. Okay.
Just to hop in, the
Okay.
small collections grants go up to $3,000.
Yeah. So no, that was for the research grants, and then for the small collection grants. Yeah. Okay. So some of the things that we'll have to look for small collections grants, that the limit of the collections 100,000 specimens. Okay, to classify us small collections grants in this call. And the main goal is to help with um, practical things during the that are related to herbarium work and collections in general. So digitize, process specimens, backlogs, curate the collections, conserve specimens, and mount them. Um, train people to deal with the collections, everything related um, to this type to collections enters here, and then one thing that um, was changed from um, previous round is that now the small collection grants is 3,000 each. Okay? And then for this type of grant, the um, the it closes on the at the end of February. Okay. So we will talk a little bit about general steps for grant writing. It's not a thing that um, the only way to do that, but it helps to figure out uh, what um, what things we would like to highlight and keep in mind that are important while writing the project, the proposal. So we'll see these six topics: grant call, idea, team, draft, revise, and feedback. So in a list, first of all, we need to read the grant announcement carefully. See uh, we have um, we, ha we have in mind all the dates and the things that are needed to write that specific grant, and then develop an idea that matches the budget. It's very important because this is a 1 year grant. So if you are in PhD, for example, it will not be to you will not propose your whole PhD here. You select one part, one important part related to systematics or nomenclature or floristics, and that could match this kind of grant call. Okay, and so one thing practically doable in 1 year, and for a specific but for this specific budget of 2,000 in one case or 3,000 in the other case. The next step is to plan the team and collaborators. Who will support you? You are going to be the one who will do the project. There are other partners. Okay, and then write the first draft of the proposal, keeping in mind that all of those items that we showed before. And 5, the revise steps to check if you hit all the points, to revise it critically and carefully, and then get comments from your peers, supervisors, mentors, as this is important, and think that is really our daily job in science. We are evaluated every time, and so it's important uh, to see others' opinions, suggestions. Okay, it's really helpful. So after you read the grant call, we have, for example, on our IAPT webpage, the previous projects that were granted. So look for previous examples to see, this one received the grant and what did they propose. So this could be done in an year time. So it can give you ideas to which kind of project, the size of the project that it's okay, that fits our call. Okay. Uh, so the idea we have to check the objectives, the budget, and the timeline. It's really important to match these three things, these three items, because they are all correlated. As I said before, you have to have your objectives very clear, and a budget um, that matches what you were willing to do, and in that time frame. Okay. So here, another way to show that these three items are correlated, and if you change one of them, you have to see if the other part needs another change. It's a continuous development for the proposal. And then for the team who you interact with, there will be new collaborations, and give context of the context in which your project, in your proposal are in, and also if they're collecting permits, that those that are needed for um, um, field trips, for example, give that information if people from your team have them, things like that. And then for the draft, here is important to detail as much as possible, because the proposal per se is relatively short, but it's in this part that we have to detail as much as possible, so people who are evaluating the proposal can have can understand better why your proposal is really important for systematics and floristics of a specific group and specific area. And then the revising step, you have to check if the first step, the grant call, where the rules are set, if all that is there, met what you have after you write your proposal. Everything that the grant call asked, is it all of that present in your proposal? And maybe, like I said, it's a short, there are 2-3 pages for the proposal, but maybe using figures on, or figures here for the numbers, and so if you give more details, it's important. And also, sorry, I missed one part here, but It's important to revise if your final text has everything that was taught before. That's important to be present. And the last step is to get feedback from your colleagues, from peers, and ask them how to make it better. So it's a really important thing. I'll start with the small collections grants, and then Laura will continue with the research grants. Okay. Small collections grants, they are really important because most of times they are they have really treasure that's not um, um, really disseminated or available online, and then funding those herbaria to have their collections digitized and being available to a more wide audience is essential for us um, to understand more our biodiversity. Okay, so here are some examples um, of the huge contributions that small herbaria can make. Okay, so and like I said, they are commonly not digitally available, and with this kind of grant, we try um, uh, to let them be more disseminated and available. The aim to support and enhance included in the small collections. Uh, uh, First, the collection, the herbarium, needs to be included in Index Herbariorum, the New York Botanical Garden website. It's really simple to do that. There's a process that you can do by yourself, but always when needed, you can ask Barbara um, um, Barbara Cheers for help with that. The main goals for this type of grants are digitizing collections, curating, processing specimen backlogs, shipping duplicates and their endangered collections to other herbaria, and conserving current specimens and mounting important collections. So everything important and that are sometimes difficult to get fund to do, we can try um, um, to be supported by this type of grants. We present some common errors from some proposals, because in order to enhance your proposal, we need to focus on these topics. Provide context to your collections. So it's a small collection, regional, but why it's important to get it digitized and available to wider audience. It's the biodiversity there is underrepresented, and you can give the context that it's the only herbarium in that area. Well, here you have uh, to say the importance of your collection, because in our institutions we really know, but it's important to give that information to people who will evaluate the proposal. Identify small enough products that can be delivered within a year or so. So the grants for 1 year, and we need to see what kind of products that can be delivered in this period of time. Provide detail to database you use and data you digitize as much as possible. What kind of database it will be. It will be shared with GB, for example, and so on. Maximize collaboration, training, and engagement. So here it's important to stress the work with students if it's the situation, other regional regional herbaria and local communities, and send out duplicates, and explain your products and impact clearly. Example for the database and website. So if you clearly provide those items, you have more chance to get the funds. Documents things needed. So for 2 years now, the IAPT membership for small collection grants and research grants are obligatory. So at least one person from in this case in the small collections grants, at least one person from the herbarium or the collection needs to be IAPT member. Okay, and there's one file that's the budget, others that the proposal per se with 2 pages maximum, including objectives, plan, and timetable, and a CV of 3 pages maximum. So here's an example of the budget file, and then in the bottom part we can see that please save completed budget as a PDF before uploading. It's very important, but because in our system we can only the files need to be in PDF format to be loaded correctly. And also use your surname, family name as the first part of the file, so it can be matched to your application. Okay. But all these things are described in our website, in iaptglobal.org/grants. So Laura will continue with the research grants.
For sure. Thanks for leading that half, Gustavo. So now we're going to transition to the research grants. If you go ahead.
Mhm.
So the research grants are pretty broad. Again, we've already told you this is for early career botanists, members of IAPT, and so you're only eligible for this up until 1 year post PhD. But in terms of what a IAPT will fund in research, it's very broad. Basically, anything you might want to do in the realm of taxonomy, monography, and systematics broadly defined. But here are some things that we really like to support through IAPT grants. We like to support travel to other institutions. So maybe a trip to go revise a plant group at another herbarium. We like to fund laboratory work in support of your research. So that could be molecular lab, it could be doing microscopy, it could be doing chemical work, again, broadly defined. It could be, like I said before, an herbarium visit. That could be an herbarium visit within sort of your local region, or it could be an herbarium visit to visit a major collection outside of your global region, someplace like Kew or the Missouri Botanical Garden. And of course, we also would fund field work to go to the field and collect your plants and other data in support of research. And as already said, but let's go ahead and reiterate this, we really like to fund visits to major herbaria that with collections that are relevant to the research you're doing. And that's because we want to encourage interactions between specialists and the younger generation to build these important taxonomic links, spur future work, and build taxonomic capacity for the next generation. And so as you're thinking about what you might want to carve out for the IAPT grant in all of your thesis work, remember this. This is something we like to fund. We like to fund herbarium visits and build connections between students and more senior taxonomists. Next slide. In the research grants, a lot of this is going to be fairly, similar to the collections grants, but we want you guys to be the most competitive to do the bullet points here. Provide good context to your research. Tell us why it's interesting, why your herbarium or university is the place to do it, and what we will learn or get out of your research. This next bullet point I find to be pretty important in my own review of grants. Go ahead and identify a project that is small enough that it can be delivered within 1 year. So an expectation of these grants is they'll be completed in 1 calendar year. Many of you who are students have a research project that is 2, 3, maybe even 6 years long if you're a PhD student. We don't necessarily, we will not fund 6 years of research. You can tell us about that to provide context, but we want to know specifically with this IAPT grant, what will be funded. Again, to reiterate this, we really want to maximize collaboration and making new connections, whether that's in the country you're studying in or are from, or regionally, or even globally. So think about what connections would most benefit you. And finally, we want you to explain products and impact from the grant research. Again, these can be really broad, but some examples are papers you will publish, online keys that you will publish that would be available to a community, maybe data that you will generate that you'll put on an online database, whether that's GenBank or GBIF. And so just tell us why the broader community of IAPT will benefit from the products of your research. Okay, next slide. And so, yeah, these are some, not discussing these things are pretty common errors in applications or things we see that could just be better. Maybe it's not a blatant error, but remember to include these things. We'll talk about some other errors in a little bit as well. Okay, keep going. This is pretty familiar to what Gustavo told you about for the collections grants. What you need for a research grant are first to be an IAPT member. You can do that on our website. The second thing is you need a budget. And then thanks Gustavo for putting up this template. This template is available on the IAPT website. You can download it when you go to apply for your grants. It's in US dollars. And we want to see here all the cost in this budget template itemized to be no more than $2,000. That's the maximum amount of this grant. We also want you to provide a justification for that budget somewhere in the proposal. So, and the proposal and the budget should match. So if you say, I'm going to generate a phylogenomic data set for a group and that's going to cost $10,000, unfortunately, that's not appropriate for an IAPT grant. You might want to say we'll generate sequences for 10 species or something like that, right? Okay. The most important part, the budget and CV are important, but by far the most important part of your proposals are going to be, or your applications are going to be that proposal. We want to see your proposal clearly laid out. And we'll go through some examples of the different components of a proposal here in a bit. And finally, we want to see your CV, your resume with three pages max. Okay, next one. Okay, so if Tina Sarkinen were here, she's been leading the other ones, she would tell you that practice makes a master. What this means is essentially practice, I would say practice makes perfect. You're going to, this is probably one of the first grants you're applying for if you're a graduate student. And so what we aim to do in the next section of this grant is encourage you to think about how past examples of IAPT grant components that we are going to show can be improved. And so go ahead and go to the next slide. So now we're going to have a bunch of examples of past grants where the grants committee and individual reviewers identified areas that could be improved. And so this is not to say that what's written isn't appropriate or fundable. A lot of these are going to be, they would have been fine, but we want to help you think about making your proposals even more competitive. And so we're going to give examples for each of the components of those grant applications, from objectives to that budget. So you can sort of think through this. Okay, so in this first example for the SCG, this is from the small collection grants. Here is an example of the objectives, sort of what the goals of the research project that the applicant wrote. They wrote this one: review and update the taxonomic classification of vascular plants at the Exerbarium with the Indexerbariorum code following. The second goal was to systematize and digitize the collection. And finally, the third goal was to manage records of the collection by creating a virtual herbarium. For the folks who are going to apply to a grant this year, take a second to think what could be improved. This isn't terrible, but we did identify areas where this can be improved. Okay, Gustavo, go ahead and put the how we suggest this these objectives can be enhanced. So first, we think that it would providing more background, importance, and context to the herbarium would have improved this section. So here we don't really know anything about the small collection that's mentioned. It would have been nice to have information about, for example, the number of collections of vascular plants and from what geographic area they were included in. If there's anything special about that region, maybe it's poorly collected, the only herbarium in the region, and there aren't many specimens available on GBIF. So there's only X number of species on GBIF, but we estimate a number much bigger to be present in the region. That would make this proposal more compelling. We also noticed some repetition in this example. So what you want to do is avoid repetition where possible. Sometimes it's really hard, like especially for students. It's kind of nice to fill up space. You end up repeating what you've already written down. Well, we want you to avoid that. And here, for example, the objectives say that they are going to review and update the taxonomic classification of vascular plants. Well, that's pretty similar to systematizing the collection. That's basically the same thing. And similarly, the digitize the collection and creating a virtual herbarium are also pretty synonymous. And so here, that second bullet point is largely repetitive with the first two others, unless more context was provided and the applicant meant something else. Okay, and finally, it would be nice to add detail. Virtual herbarium is pretty vague. Something more specific would have been to say they were going to create a specimen database available with online images. Examples of how to enhance that. Can we move on to the next example, Gustavo? Example 1B, this is from another small collections grant application. The objective stated was, we will employ cutting edge digitization and scanning technologies to digitize 3,000 records and scan 1,500 specimens. Take a second to think through what might improve this objective. Again, this actually, we wouldn't throw you out for this, but it can be improved. Gustavo, can you move forward in the slide? So we say that a way to enhance this objective is to add some detail to it. How will you digitize? What camera, what resolution will you use? What scanning technology do you mean here? One thing though that is really great about this objective, something that we really like, is to see the number of estimated records that will be digitized and scanned. Something else that we saw could be improved here was the inconsistent use of terms. So in this objective, we believe that records and specimens are synonymous. They mean the same thing, an herbarium specimen. And so just when you write a grant, just make sure you're not using multiple terms to refer to the same thing. Okay, next one. Okay, and now here's an example objective from a research grant. Okay, there are 3 goals. The first is to study the phylogenetic relationships and evolutionary history of yellow corollas in the genus ABC. The second objective is to determine the dominant chemicals in the genus ABC. And 3, explore the relationship between phytochemistry and the phylogeny in ABC. Now, this is a good example of something I discussed earlier, which is making sure that the research you propose is feasible within 1 year. These are very cool objectives, but it sounds like it might be a student's entire PhD dissertation. And so make your objectives smaller. Remember, this is a 1-year chunk. It's 1 year of a graduate thesis. And so instead of going so big with the thesis, say, discuss more like where you will collect specimens to add to your data set. Or, for example, here, we'll collect, species, a list of species known from the Madidi Mountains in Bolivia, for which the only type is known. And this represents likely the second independent origin of yellow corollas in the genus, and sequence this for the phylogeny. That's a compelling reason to go to the field. We have a novel trait we want to include in the phylogeny to understand trait evolution, and that is achievable within a year. Another way these objectives could have been made smaller, more realistic within the timeline of a year is they'll run phytochemical metabolomic analysis to screen chemical diversity in the genus. So like we know we're given a little bit more detail about metabolomic analysis. Another way to enhance these objectives is to think about your outputs and think about how they align with what IAPT would like to fund. We're the International Association for Plant Taxonomy. So maybe some of these objectives here aren't the best aligned. I will acknowledge that all of those objectives, they do fall under the broad banner systematics. IAPT would fund those, but what we really want to see is that you're making new specimens, contributing to the herbarium, thinking about how your results connect to taxonomy. That could mean species description, monography, classification, nomenclature. So for IAPT, examples of outputs we'd be really excited to see for our society are, X number of new specimens from the genus that are collected in a region that's under study, like those Medini Mountains, will be made and distributed across multiple herbaria in multiple countries, if that's an option for a student. Another example would be taxonomic tools that the community could use. So will the student create an identification guide for all the species of this genus ABC based on the photos they take in the field? And if so, one good way to publish this kind of information is through the Rapid Field Guide program by the Chicago's Field Museum. And that is something we would be excited about. Not that we would not be excited about the sort of the phylogeny and color evolution that's in an example too, but because this is IAPT, adding that information or to include the focus on herbaria and taxonomy, or switching your objectives to focus on those might be a good idea. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so now in the small collections grant, we ask you to provide a plan for your proposal. And so here are examples of plans from a small collections grant. One says that the digitization process is each specimen will undergo a rigorous digitization process. We will utilize state-of-the-art imaging technology to capture high-resolution photographs of specimens from multiple angles. The second part of this plan is online database development. We are committed to developing a user-friendly online database to host the digitized collection. This database will allow researchers to access specimens. Solid plan, but it could be better. Can we go to the next part of the slide, Gustavo? Ways of enhancing this plan are to first provide examples of past success. So that demonstrates, so if the applicants had added so far 819 specimens have been databased and 500 mounted with the help of volunteers. Had that been added, there would have been nice context to demonstrate that this research is likely to be, or not this research, but that this proposal, the small grants proposal, is likely to be successful because the herbarium has demonstrated success. Something else that would be nice to have in a plan is an understanding of the personnel who will do what. With the research proposal, we know it's going to be the students doing most of the work, but in the small grants proposal, it's not always the applicant who might be the director of the herbarium who's going to do the work. That might be volunteers, students, or somebody paid through the small grant. And so add that detail somewhere in the plan. So for example, here you might add to the plan on the left, we'll hire 2 full-time assistants to support us in curatorial activities to mount, organize, and digitize specimens. Remember, if anywhere in your proposal, you're talking about students and volunteers, students and volunteers need training. And that can be involved with costs. That might mean somebody needs to take time out of their work hours to do that training. It might mean also you need software or something to support that training. include that in your budget, in your timetable. And so if there is significant training that's needed, day one should not be starting to generate images. Day one should be, we will train students and volunteers. And then also think about what you have said and sort of the words you use and what they might sound like to somebody who's an expert in this field. As you can see from the folks from the grants committee who are here, all of us work in herbaria for the most part. And so something that might strike us as a little odd without more context is the sentence that and from the plan that this proposal will capture high resolution photographs of specimens from multiple angles. That sounds nice on first glance, but when you stop to think about it, herbarium specimens often are approximately flat, approximately two-dimensional. So what information do we gain from that? So if you're including something that isn't expected or normal in the collection or in your plan, in your proposal, explain it somewhere. Maybe this plan was to measure, I don't know, pine cones or magnolia fruits, and it made sense to capture high resolution photographs from multiple angles. But also it might just be that this is filler text, that they're just putting words on paper that sounded kind of nice, but we're going to be critically evaluating these. And so little details like that will get caught. Okay, next one. Okay, finally, we have a timetable, and you're going to need these for any kinds of grants. And so in this timetable, month 1 and 2 is to procure digitization and scanning equipment and establish digitization protocols and workflows. That's month 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is to begin digitization and scanning process. 5 and 6 is to continue digitization and scanning and commence conservation efforts of priority specimens. And months 7 to 8, complete digitization and scanning. Again, this is another example of a timetable that is perfectly okay for a grant proposal, nothing fundamentally wrong with it, but there are areas where it can be improved. So Gustavo, can you show the second half of the slide? Okay, so for example, you can add some targets. You're going to, in months 3 and 4, begin digitization and scanning, but how many specimens will be completed during that time frame? That would be nice information to have. Is it 50 or is it 500, right? Also add some detail. And for example, a detail that would have been nice to have in months 1 and 2 is that workflows would be tested and a manual written. Again, remember, training might be an important part of a grant. Okay, next one. Now the budget. I get lots of questions about putting budgets together in grants, especially for students. This might be your first time writing a grant and figuring out exactly how much things cost. Again, just a reminder that this template can be downloaded from the IAPT website. But here we want plenty, just like everywhere else, we want sufficient detail in that budget. So on the left, you see an example budget with some line items. And details that would have improved this is not just camera equipment for digitization, but like what model of camera? Is it a Nikon? Is it a, what is it? And what kind of lens are you using? And what kind of memory card? Or what kind of computer will these images be housed on? If software and licenses are needed for your database program or your imaging workflow, make sure to include those fees if that's a cost that needs to be covered. Travel cost is very vague, and I know sometimes it's really hard to predict exactly how much you'll need to do field work, but if you include information like bus fare for 2 people to travel to you know, uh, that area important for knowledge gaps. That would be really useful. Or car hire and petrol costs, neither of which I would say as an American citizen to rent a car and buy gas is what I would say. But those are those would be good items to include in the line item budget instead of just the very vague travel costs. Okay, next slide. Oh, was that it? There's some, I think. Okay. Well, I think we're now at the end of discussing the proposal, but I think we can take questions if anybody had questions about how to put together either kind of grant or any other broad question. You can write it in the chat or raise your hand and unmute. Are you guys sure? No questions? You have two current awardees who can tell you about
Can
their
I
experience. Yeah,
can I ask one question?
sure. Go ahead, Kapil.
Okay. Uh, Good evening, everyone. My
Right.
name is Kapil Kemprai, and first of all, greetings on New Year wishes to everyone. And I have just two questions. Uh, First, I want to know, like, in the small collections grants last year, it was very clearly mentioned that it is the curator of the herbarium and not the students who are associated with the herbarium who can write the grants. So, does the same apply this year as well?
Gustavo, do you have a good sense of that?
I think now if a student could apply, it this is the question, right? It needs to be one person that works on the collection.
I think
Have
a
the
student could support that if there was maybe a letter from the curator. So these are the small collections grants are really supposed to be in the herbarium, doing work to the infrastructure. This isn't to support research, and so it's likely inappropriate for a student to be writing a full proposal without consent of the director. Um, so I think it's most appropriate for curators, but there might be some exceptions. And if you feel like you have an exception to that, you can reach out to um, the grants committee. I think Gustavo or I would be good people to email to look into that. But for the most part, it'll be curators, directors, or maybe a faculty member at a university.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And my second one is like I don't know if it will be repetitive, but just want to make sure that I ask again. Just want to know like for the research grants, like currently I'm in the third year of my PhD, so whether I'm eligible or not, that I just want to clarify. Like
Yeah, you're a student, right?
yes, yes, ma'am, yes.
And you have not had a grant previously. If you had,
No, ma'am.
you'd still be eligible, but it'd have to be on a different project. Well, it sounds
I
like
mean,
you're eligible. You once you earn your PhD, you will only have one more year of eligibility. But it sounds like right now you
Mhm.
are very eligible to apply for a research grant based on your student status.
thank you, ma'am. That's great to know. Thank you so much.
Of
Thank you,
course.
sir.
Gu or
Uh-huh.
Laura, Sushandra Dutta have a question here. She asking about she already made the proposal. I think she wrote, and she would like to seek suggestion on it. So she asking about who she can contact if she can share with any of us his proposal.
So, when Gustavo told you guys about sort of the standard get grant writing process, our biggest recommendation is that you seek advice on the specific grant proposal from your community, whether that's somebody at your institution or somebody you know from the subfield. Um, it would be inappropriate for somebody who's on the grant committee to give you direct feedback because that would give you an unfair advantage. So Anna, myself, and Gustavo cannot do that. If you need a suggestion on what you can write about, or if something is appropriate, you can reach out to us. But if you're like, is this like how can my writing be better? How can this be more competitive? You should ask either former award winners or somebody, a mentor in your at your institution or in your subfield. Gustavo and Anna, do you agree with that?
Yes, agree.
Yeah, Suchandra has sent to me. So yeah, I also saw her proposal, but yeah, I can suggest, but I cannot assure. Yeah, I saw her proposal, but like I am not in the reviewing committee, so I saw the proposal, but whether if I give any suggestion, whether that will be 100% helpful or not, that I'm not sure. You got it?
So there is a rubric posted online, so you can know what the
Yeah,
committee will be evaluating.
yeah,
And it is totally, former winners are some of the best people to
yeah,
be able to give advice
yeah,
because they've been
yeah,
deemed fundable.
yeah.
But yeah, IAPT will not be giving
Okay.
advice specifically on how to make your proposals better. But if you're a student,
Yeah.
your graduate advisor, your undergraduate advisor is a good person to go to.
Gu and Laura has another question here in the QA. Claudia Vega, she asking, she have a lot of collaborators in national and regional collaborators. She asking about if it's necessary to mention them all in proposal, or is enough to mention just a first and last name for mentors and those who will provide training?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that comes down to we always like to hear detail. And so, names and institutions and what role they'll play in your mentorship is really great detail. Now, where I might see you saying, "Oh, should I include this?" as if the rest of your proposal gets really long and you have so many collaborators is taking up space. And so, if it's taking up space that so much space that you can't fully talk about the goals of your research, you might want to find a way to shorthand all those mentors. But if you have space, those are nice details to include. We like to, again, like we said throughout this proposal, or sorry, throughout this webinar, we encourage collaboration and exchange. And so that would be a strength of your of your proposal, that you have those identified. So don't not mention them, but find a way to do it in a way that also allows you to write what you need to. Would anybody like to add to that?
No.
Yeah, I have a question, Gustavo. Yeah, like last time I got the small collection grant award from my herbarium, CSIR NIST Jorhat. So now any student from CSIR NIST Jorhat who are pursuing PhD either under me or under my colleagues from the same institute, as a member of this herbarium, if they ask want to apply for a research grant award, are they eligible or they should be a gap? Yeah.
Yeah, it is irrelevant that you got a small collections grant. Those students will be evaluated independently of your grant.
I think Deepa lost her connection, I guess.
Yeah, it looks
Uh-huh.
like she might have froze.
Uh-huh.
I don't see any other questions. Do the folks here have any other things they would like to know about? Okay. Well, what do you think? Should we wrap up, Gustavo?
Can I
Caprio?
just get a
Yep,
last question?
sure.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to ask. I remember this. Um, I while going, I'm already a member of the IAPT. I have already signed up. So,
Awesome.
when I went through the website for applying for the research grants, I noticed that there is a section where we have to upload like I think four research papers associated with our proposed project for the research grants. So, is it compulsory to upload four, or if I have like three published article as of now, then will it suffice?
Gustavo, I don't actually know about that. And when I've been a reviewer, I don't remember seeing associated articles. So do you have any information about that?
We have this part, but I don't really know if four items are necessary. But you have to put your uh, four highlighted outputs, and so uh,
Okay.
there's no problem if uh, you don't have four, but as much as possible it's for like the evaluation of the CV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was talking about that section where it's written like citation for publication. Like
Mhm,
there are like four. So just to clarify on that section, I asked.
mhm. And there's no problem if have fewer than four. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Aida.
Hello, I
Hello.
have asked my questions. For the researcher grants, is only to move to a big herbariums because, for example, there are some students that they want to visit herbariums in the country as
Yeah.
well. But there are okay.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. You can apply to visit any herbaria or even do herbarium research in your own sort of home herbarium. Going to herbaria across the country is a wonderful goal. You can go locally, regionally, or globally, whatever scale makes sense for the project. We encourage international visits just because that's a real bang for your buck for exchange, international exchange. But if what makes sense and what is most feasible based on sort of visa situations is to go within the country, awesome. We will consider that the same on its merits equally as one that would be going to an international herbarium.
Okay. Any other questions? Like you can say in your own language, and we can try to translate and be very free to do that. Or comments from the other awardees. What was important? Uh, anyone wants to add something?
Or if any of our former and current winners would like to say, give any advice, you're welcome to do that as well.
Jenny?
Ok. Vou perguntar em português, tá?
Tranquilo.
Se é possível fazer uma seguinte proposta para o Small Collection Grant, depois de ter finalizado o ano, ou tem um prazo que temos que esperar para postular novamente?
Sim. Jenny was asking, as she got one small collections grants in the past round, so she asked if she can apply again, but the nowadays rules for small collections grants, you have to wait 3 years to apply again for the same um, herbarium collection. So in this way, we can reach more different herbaria in different areas. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So please share the word
Yeah.
with your colleagues and friends, because we the ones that are evaluating the projects are we do the same things that you do. So if you give enough information and context, it will be good to our understanding and to clarify things. And this kind of discussion is to let it be more closer. It's not a very distant thing that we are um, we are looking for information that allow us to evaluate in the better way possible the proposals, right?
Yeah.
So
Cool. Well, good luck in your applications. Thank you guys for joining us today. We hope to be evaluating your proposal soon.
thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Have a